Hi everyone, my name is Vaishnavee Sundararaman. I am a junior choral music education major.
Well, welcome. And you're the first choral person, first choral student we've had
Wow, that's crazy.
on
That's
the
awesome.
podcast. So really looking forward to talking to you. A lot of cool stuff going on with choir now.
There's a lot going on. I agree. There's so much.
How'd you get into singing for choir?
I started singing, a couple years after I can talk, let's say like 5 years. I started singing. I didn't actually start singing in choir until I was 10 years old. I actually started singing very traditional Indian classical music from South India. It's called Carnatic music, and it's in my family. I've listened to it since I was a child, and that's like what I grew up on singing, and that's basically my initial training. And then I joined choir because it was a requirement as a fourth grade kid in my elementary school. The school we were in required every student to take choir. So I just took choir, and I loved it. It was really, really fun. And then I took
But what's the Indian classical music like?
Carnatic music.
Yeah.
So it's very it's heavily based on singing very devotional music. These great composers who were priests and spent a lot of their life serving the Lord, serving God. And they had these, things they thought of that were just in them that they just wanted to write out and write in a song to praise the person they were, devoted to their whole life. For example, there's a trinity of composers that we have in our world of Carnatic music. Their names are, you can look these people up: Saint Tyagaraja, Shyama Shastri, and we just say Dikshitar. And these three composers are like the trinity of composers in the world of music. And all these three had like different ways of writing. For example, Dikshitar, the person I mentioned, is very poetic. He writes, he describes the Lord in a very poetic way. Versus Saint Tyagaraja, it is just pure devotion. You hear him, and the way he writes, the first line of something is like, "Lord, why can't I serve at your feet? Why am I not good enough?" It's just straightforward. It's not describing anything. But then someone like Dikshit, he writes so poetically, like, "Oh, Goddess has these lotus-like eyes, and the face of you, it just makes me smile," and these very descriptive factors of the Lord. So our music is heavily based on, singing to get near God, basically. So it's very, very devotional music, I would say.
So are you singing this in a worship setting, or are you singing this at home?
I sing this at home. I sing it at, our Indian temples when we go out for our temples, and we just go for a weekend thing, or someone asks us to sing. I'll sing a song that I've been doing. I'll sing whatever song. And then sometimes when it's very, very special celebrations, like the 9-day celebration of goddesses, Navaratri. Navan is 9, Ratri is night, so 9 nights. So I would sing a lot for a lot of houses, because we always get invited for people to see basically these decorations we put. It's called golu. So you have a lot of steps, and you see God, and there's a lot of gods, dolls put up, and it's kind of like we adorn, and it's like a celebration of all these goddesses that have done a lot in all of our lives and stuff. So we will go to all these places, and we will invite people to come and see our God and just kind of celebrate these amazing lords who have done so much for us. And then along with that, we also sing a lot of songs as well to praise the goddesses.
Yeah, and what are you playing these with a piano, or is it with other singers, or is it with different kind of instruments?
Primarily, you can sing solo. You can sing solo. You can sing in a group. There's tons of groups, especially in the Austin area, where you can sing, and then you also have people play on the violin. There's Indian classical violin, and it was actually made common to like play these songs on violin by Dikshita, like I said at the very beginning. And then there is the very traditional veena, and it's similar to the sitar from North India, but this is the very traditional version of the veena and the goddess of basically all the studies, all of our education. Her name is Goddess Saraswati. She has it held on her, and if you look her up, she'll have it on her, and it also can be played on that. And then there's also like there's also percussion instruments like especially anyone knows in North India, the tabla, and then there is the mridangam. It's a instrument that's about this big, and it's basically a drum, and it's just a instrument for all the rhythmic things we hear. So
yeah, did you learn to play any of these instruments, or did you just stick to singing?
I've learned veena. It's I've learned veena. It's kind of in and out of my practice. But
this is like the sitar you were telling me?
Yes, it's the one like the sitar. Yeah, I play veena. It is very helpful to learn an instrument because instruments allow you to physically see what you're doing, and especially veena because it's a fret instrument and everything is here. So you have to, you physically see, what note you are actually playing. So that physicality of the instrument and seeing it helps a lot with, processing it in the brain, and actually helps with singing a lot. So
it must have been a big shock. So you're in Pittsburgh at this point.
I've been in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so you're in Pittsburgh, and you go from playing this kind of music, singing this kind of music, to now you're in school in 4th grade, and now you're singing in the 4th grade choir.
Yeah.
What was that transition like?
Oh my gosh. So it was a pretty big, but the one thing I do have to say is, we listen to a lot of music on the radio and stuff, and listen to stuff in the grocery stores. And, you hear all the famous songs of back in, I don't know, 2012, 2013, all those songs that we all love to hear. I heard all those songs. And
pop songs?
Yeah, all those pop songs,
Frozen.
Frozen. Yeah, Frozen was a big one. Yes.
When I think of 2012, I think of Frozen.
Frozen was a big one. And I would learn songs from whatever I hear on YouTube, like Frozen. I learned Let It Go when I was a child and stuff like that. And we would scream it in our room and everything. So I had those experiences, but choir was singing in a choir setting was a very different thing for me, because a choir, as you know, is an ensemble. So you have to sing based on the ensemble, making sure you're not the stickler of the choir, which is a very big thing in choir. So that was one thing I had to learn, absolutely. So
great. Yeah. And then so did you stay in that same choir all the way up into college, or?
I sang in choir. Yeah, I'm still singing choir right now. So I've been in choir since 4th grade and elementary choir, and I did a lot of times elementary schools have the small ensembles and stuff. Mm-hmm. I did their small ensemble singing, and then did choir throughout middle school and did their small ensemble in middle school. And then in high school, I sang in a couple of choirs. I sang in, the mixed choirs. I sang in their chamber choirs when I was a little older and stuff like that. And then I came to college and I still sing in choir.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because when I think about Butler, I feel like we have a lot of people from Texas, a lot of students that come here from Texas. Yeah. It's a big thing in Texas. It's almost like it's like a rite of passage to come here.
Yeah,
and then we also have lots of students from all over the world. But where we don't have a lot of students is from places like Pittsburgh, places like Cleveland. I don't know why. Midwest, we don't get a lot. So how did you kind of stumble upon us, and how did you decide to come to Butler?
It's actually a funny story. So I was looking in Pittsburgh for schools like any junior or sophomore was doing when they were sophomores and juniors. Then, because of the weather in Pittsburgh, my family was they could not stand the cold, and they were like, I am so done with this cold. And they wanted to move down to Texas. They've been thinking about it. And then they were like, hey, can you just look at schools in Texas? And I was like, okay. And, UNT popped up, University of Houston popped up. Then I saw UT Austin, and I was like, and I saw the acceptance rate, and I was like, 35%? What? But then my parents were like, why not? Give it a shot. And I was like, okay. And we took a couple weeks in like 2021 when to tour colleges to see them. So we did a triangle of like Dallas, Houston, and Austin. Not in that order, but I don't remember the order. But the minute I entered Austin, I just loved the city. I just thought the city was so cool. The place was really beautiful. It was just such an attractive city for me. So I was like, oh, I like the city a lot. And then I toured UT, and I really loved the college. And the nice thing about UT was UT is such a big school. We have 50,000 plus students. But then you come to the Butler School of Music, and it's just 600. It's 600 students at the BSOM versus over 50,000 plus at the university. So I got this opportunity to have this big school experience and then a small knit community where I could just casually talk to my professors and my TAs whenever I wanted. So I got this really, really incredible experience with that. It lit in me, and I was like, okay, it a fire under me, and I was like, okay, I have to apply here.
So like it's, as you said, it's very competitive to get here.
It's very competitive, especially as an out-of-state student. It's like out-of-state's 10% versus what? Out-of-state's like 10% versus the whole Texas residents.
Texas residents, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure. So I know if you're in like the top 7% or 5%, you're guaranteed.
Yeah, you're guaranteed.
Spot. Yeah. But what do you think you did to stand out? Like, because I'm sure there's a lot of people watching right now. They're like, how do I get in? How do I get in?
I think the biggest thing is all my directors told me this, and all my teachers tell me this, and I've even learned this from my parents. Be yourself. Be you. That's the best thing you could do for yourself. Because if you try to be something else that you aren't, and then you come into college and there's like, this is not who I thought you were, and instead be the best version of you and do things that you would do. That's the best thing I would say that I did for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And so talk through some of your highlights here so far. So you're a junior, right? So you've been here 2 years, 2.5, almost 2.5 years. So what are some of the highlights of those 2.5 years?
Definitely. So my freshman year, joining a choir, starting choir here as a freshman in the university choir, it is, so generally speaking, it happened when I came in because, as you know, our current director of activities, Dr. Burnett, came in when I started at UT. So I think it's kind of special that I got to start with my choral director, Dr. Burnett. So he wanted all the freshmen who came into for at least one semester do the university choir so that they get their foot in the door and just understand what this choir is all about. And I kind of am very happy that I did that because university choir just gave me like a foundation and an idea of what choir is like. And then when I got the option to audition for concert chorale, concert chorale didn't feel like so much. So I started in university choir, first semester we sang soprano, alto pieces, treble pieces. My second year I was here, Cody Parrott, and he was my director when I was a freshman. He did a piece by Vivaldi, and it was a recently crafted version of a well-known piece by Vivaldi, Beatus Vir, and it was written for an alto solo and then two soprano soloists. And it was written for SATB, two soprano soloists, and an alto solo. Then somebody, I don't know who it was, someone he knows, looks like, made it into a SSAA and the same soloist. So
wait, what's an SS?
Soprano 1, soprano 2, alto 1, alto 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so all treble voices instead of SATB. So that was really, really cool. So we did that, and we had a professional or like about to be professional mezzo soprano come in and sing the alto mezzo solo of it. And then he had our choir people, the people in the choir, try out for the soprano solos. So the soprano 2 part is basically a mezzo part. So any alto singers could sing it. Anybody who sang alto or had that like mezzo soprano voice, which I am, could sing it. So, I was like, let's give this a shot. Tried it out, and, Cody picked four people. Then we had like a little final round, quote unquote. Yeah, final round. Not really. It's just like he just wanted to hear who and who would like match together. And then my friend and I both got the soprano 1, soprano 2 solo. So I
cool.
got to be like in the front of the choir. I got to be outside of the choir as a soloist for an 8-minute piece. Then as a sophomore, a great thing was I got into the concert chorale. Concert chorale is the premier mixed choir of UT Austin, and we can talk more about the choirs at UT. So I got into that choir. So that was a huge thing for me. And we toured and we did our chorale tour. So in 2023 spring, our choral director started a new tradition of basically having the premier choirs, the concert chorale, touring places in the Texas area. So
cool.
Yeah, we started in Houston in the spring of 23, and then we've toured San Antonio, the DFW area, and then again very recently, like a week ago, we toured Houston again, so we could hit more schools. So
you're playing like for high schools or colleges?
For high schools. So then we could have them. So it was kind of like an outreach. So it's just kind of, again, promoting the school and promoting our choir program and having anybody come and sing in our choir, because the goal is like choir, anybody can sing. Anybody who loves to sing choral music can sing, or just love to sing music can come and sing in choir. And for so many non-music majors especially, which is actually what the choral, like all of our choirs are mainly made up of. It's like, I think 4 of the choirs or 3 of the choirs, I believe, are made up of non-music majors. So people who just love to sing in choir and just want to sing in choir. And it's like a way to just debrief and like kind of relax from all the work and life they have outside of that. And it's just a place to be like, oh, choir, I know everybody in this room. I get to sing,
Yeah.
So it's just that's just kind of what it was. So joining concert chorale was super duper special because, I mean, the repertoire that we do is just so much fun, and it's much more difficult, but in a way, it's kind of fun in the same way. Like concert chorale got to sing one of the most unperformed pieces, like in the world of like classical music. We got to sing Les Noces. And mainly undergraduate choir of people who have never sung this piece got to sing that piece, and that is the coolest thing ever. And then
it's a Stravinsky, but it's obscure because it's like
so obscure.
8 percussionists and there's 4 opera soloists, a choir. And 4 pianos.
Yeah, 4 pianos.
It's
so
crazy.
It's just, that was so special for me this year.
Yeah. What advice would you have for someone who's like in high school who wants to kind of follow in your footsteps a little bit and go to college for
music?
For choral? Yeah.
Choral music? One thing I would definitely say is it is okay if you don't know what to do when you come here. It is fine. It is A-okay. So many people who come in here don't even end up being the major they picked in the first place. For example, I want to give an example, like our director, he didn't even start as a choral studies major when he entered college. He was like, he didn't know.
That's where he was like chemistry or something, right?
I think it was like engineering.
Engineering,
something, but it was not music. Then he was like, I kind of like music. So he moved down to another state and did his choral degree.
Yeah, so what is your trajectory going forward?
From here, I'm currently in choral conducting, and I'm doing classes. I'm taking children's literature and learning about vocal pedagogy. And I think vocal pedagogy is one of the most important classes to take as a musician, because as a teacher, you need to learn like what is in the throat here. There's just so much happening in your voice at such millisecond speeds of time. It's just at light speed, all these things happen in your voice. And learning what happens is so critical as a musician. And I'm currently learning about that in my vocal pedagogy class with the incredible Dr. Morrow. And she's just known for having so much knowledge in this area of the voice. And I also in this class get the opportunity to teach a student actually. And in the past, it used to be I think high school students or middle school students. I don't remember what years they are. So the people who were in the choral music studies vocal pedagogy class, basically the vocal pedagogy class that choral music studies students take, they all get assigned one student and they teach them once a week for an entire semester. So it's like you have a student you have to teach.
Yeah. Is that terrifying?
It can definitely be nerve-wracking, but look, I have teaching experience in the past, but this kind of teaching is definitely different because you're also still learning as you are teaching somebody. So it's kind of like two people who are still learning are teaching. But then you kind of have to remember that everybody's learning.
Yeah.
Everybody is learning no matter what. All my TAs say this, all my directors say this. Teaching is also that very important thing. So teaching someone who is also in university and also wants to learn music is just such an interesting thing. And I've honestly really enjoyed it.
Do you want to teach one-on-one or do you want to teach like a choir or like what do you want to do?
I have, again, everything is up in the air as, for a lot of us. I really am interested in teaching early education actually.
Okay.
So into
like preschool?
Preschool, elementary, and all those areas. Because it's just so intriguing to me of the importance of early education. Because I think so many people so many people do choir and secondary education. And there's a lot of things that are important about it. And some people just get the hang of doing secondary teaching and conducting and stuff like that. And those all are very important in their musical career. But I think there is just something very special about the early education stages that I think keeps it so intriguing and very inspiring, actually. Because when you go into an early education classroom, like I've gotten the opportunity to teach kids as little as 18 months. And
oh, wow.
It's incredible how smart these kids are. Like, kids are smarter than we think, y'all. They're so smart. They can do a lot of things that you don't think they can do. And it's just, I want to like go there and give these young children an opportunity to learn music from a little age, because there are just so many facts and things shown that there are so many advantages to young kids getting exposed to music as so little. Babies as little as 6 weeks, newborn babies, like how like listening to music helps them
from
develop.
Day one, really.
Yeah, literally day one. Yeah, right. That's a better way to say it. So I think that early education field is something I would love. And then I love one-on-one. Doing one-on-one teaching is something that's very interesting to me, because I get to kind of grow with that person and help them, like guide them through, honestly, not even music, through any like things in life. Because sometimes for people, their music teacher, their voice teacher is like the person they go to and they have so much respect for, so much appreciation for, and they've just, they're the person that they can trust. They're, it's like they're kind of they're
teacher,
a mentor. They're a mentor.
Therapist. Yeah.
Therapist is a great word. Yes, therapist is a very good word. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just gonna do. I can tell already. You're gonna do an amazing job. You're so passionate about it. Can't wait to see the amazing stuff you do, and you're probably gonna do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Teach a little bit one-on-one, a little bit of early childhood, and who knows what else. But thank you so much for coming in and sitting down. This has been great. And we can't wait I'm glad you spend another year here. So we had 2.5 more years of listening to you sing.
Yes. That's
all right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.